So originally this video was supposed to be out a few weeks back, if not a couple of months ago, but time just kind of didn't really work out in my favor. I had a couple other things to do. I got busy in my real life and yada yada yada. Stuff just didn't really pan out the way that I really needed it or wanted it to. So I never really got around to talking about this specific movie. And now considering the fact that Demon Slayer is finally getting into a new arc that isn't just a retelling of the Demon Slayer movie, I thought now is probably about the best time that I can get around to actually watching the movie for the first time finally, and then getting around into making a video talking about it, which I had mentioned in a couple of videos prior, like a couple of weeks ago, saying that I was going to get around to eventually doing it. Again, didn't end up getting around to doing it, but now we're here, and yeah, everyone that was saying all of the praises about this movie is pretty justified, because let's talk about the visuals for a second. The cinematography is fantastic. The camera work and how the way they shoot the characters moving about in such a constrained area as a literal fucking train, I think is pretty impressive. Obviously, the animation and the way that the characters move, the way that they move their swords and their sword swings, and the effects that they have whenever they use their forms of, like, you know, like with Rengoku and his like fire forms and stuff like that, and Zenitsu with his lightning forms, and it builds up a little bit more of the lore as well, and the fact there are different elemental forms. And then there are like branching forms that go off of the base ones. Something that the original first season didn't really do, but prior to this, I actually really appreciated that they did that, but I don't know why they had to wait until a fucking movie in order to do that, which, you know, it is a little weird, but it's not really that big of a deal. It's fine. Obviously, performances by both the sub and the dub cast are, you know, phenomenal in their own unique, specific ways. There's not really anything to really say anything about that. Ufotable, like I said, animation is top notch, and they were really at the top of their game. But the only thing that really like kind of grinds my gears a little bit is, like, obviously, like, it looks very, very good. This is a very beautifully animated movie, and they took a long time to have the characters come out the way that they do, and have the characters have the fluidity that they do, and it's fantastic, and it's a marvel to look at. But the episodes that they were doing on a weekly basis in the first season were already that of a pretty high quality, and I'm not really sure why they had to go about into making this into a movie, especially considering that they just ended up doing a anime adaptation. Regardless, it almost just sort of seems like they should have just animated it for a weekly series instead of just taking like a couple of years off to then turn it into a movie. I don't know, it was very weird. It was a very weird decision. I still don't really understand why that was something that they decided to do. It's not that big of a deal in hindsight, because the movie does look phenomenal with the score and whoever composed it. I'll put their name up on the screen right now. The composer did a fantastic job with the new music that they did. The characters are obviously very entertaining. It's actually been a while since I've seen anything from Demon Slayer, so I haven't like seen the show in a little while, and I haven't rewatched the first season at all. But getting introduced back with Nezuko, Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu, seeing these characters again and having their personalities bounce off of one another, that was really fun. And then they introduced Rengoku like officially, and Rengoku is a lot of fun. He's just super cool. He's like one of the first like members, besides like Giyu and the other girl, I forgot what her name is, the bug girl. He's like the first the other Hashira that we've like seen before, and he was really interesting. He was really interesting and very unique, and just like different than the other ones that we've seen before. And I think what I liked about his character the most was just like the fact that the whole time he just like has morals, and he sticks to those morals, because at the end of the movie, he's given the option to decide of whether or not he wants to turn into a demon or not, but he is so admirable and so hung struck on his morals and his ideology that he just decides to stay a human, because the best thing about humanity is the fact that we all eventually die, and that we all have flaws, but day after day we can continue on further and further to get past those flaws and become a better person tomorrow than who we were the day before. And that was really cool. That was a really cool character trait that he had, and watching him teach these characters that we've known for a long time now for a decent amount of time at least. It was just interesting to get like this perspective because we don't really see this too often, because the only other type of training that we've had of, Zenitsu, Inosuke, and Tanjiro wasn't really anything significant. It was just more so rehabilitation and to get them onto a higher skill level, and that's kind of it. Whereas Rengoku kind of like teaches them certain values and certain ways of thinking that they didn't really have before, which I thought was very intriguing. The villain, of course, let's talk about the villain. I don't really know what to say about this one, because it's like we were already kind of expecting something, because he was one of the lower like ranks of the group of demons. I forget what they're called. I'll put the name on the screen again. I didn't really know what to expect, but I wasn't expecting really a whole lot. But basically what this demon's powers are is he's able to put a whole bunch of people to sleep, and he can infiltrate their dreams, or not infiltrate, but he puts them to sleep, gives them good dreams, and then gives them bad dreams. And then while they're asleep, he goes ahead and, obviously takes their blood and kills people. But what I really liked was there was a segment in the movie where all the main characters are asleep besides Nezuko, and they all have different types of dreams. Like Inosuke has a pretty funny dream where he and like the rest of the group are like a bunch of like animal, like humanoid figures, and Inosuke is like, oh, we gotta fight like the boss, and like the boss is the train, which I thought was really funny. Rengoku, in his dream, he's talking with his father, and then being there for his younger brother, and they're just kind of like having this brotherly relationship where he kind of like mentors over him. Zenitsu's dream's also pretty funny, where he just basically is like hanging out with Nezuko because he like loves Nezuko or whatever. I thought that was funny. But the one that hit me the hardest, and that like tears started falling, was Tanjiro's dream. And his dream, and the dreams that he was given and allowed to see, were that of his family, and it was before that they had died. And that one affected me pretty significantly because, as I said before in other videos, and I even made a specific video about it, my mom passed away earlier this year in March of 2021, and that hit me really hard, and I had to figure out a way to bring up the courage myself to be able to go to the funeral so that way I can finally say goodbye. Even though she was already gone, I didn't really get to see her before she had passed. I had to get the courage and get the willpower to, leave my house, because I needed to say goodbye, because I knew if I didn't do that, I would have regretted it. And Tanjiro essentially has to do the exact same thing. He's in this dream state, and he doesn't want to leave because he is experiencing the joy of having his family back, and having his siblings back, and his mother back, and Nezuko isn't a demon anymore, and he doesn't want to go. And I think that's very understandable to people who have lost a loved one, that we want to live in this dream world where the people that we love and care about and our family are all alive and they're all happy together, and like we don't have to worry about anything. Tanjiro doesn't want to do that, but then he finally has to gain the willpower and the strength to admit that he's in a dream, and that it's not right for him to be there, and that he has a proper reality that he has to go to, and that he still has a younger sister that he needs to take care of. So he breaks out of the dream, which is pretty fucked up in the way that he has to break out of this like fucking dream state when he has to essentially just kill himself, which is fucked up. But yeah, back to the villain. He's like the literal train, which I wasn't expecting. I thought like the demon on top of the train was the villain, but no, it's just the demon is the train, which I thought was pretty funny. But regardless, I guess if there's anything to criticize about the animation and the visual effects, like the purple like gooey stuff that comes from the train, it's CG and it doesn't look the best all of the time. So there, most of the time when you're looking at it, it kind of just like looks weird. But then there are times where it's like they're trying to get the audience to look somewhere else instead of looking at the gooey shit. And it doesn't look that bad, and it kind of just sort of blends into the background, and you don't really like notice it too much. But then when it's like that's all there is, and like the characters are like not in the forefront and they're kind of like in the background somewhere and they're fighting like these like tendril things, you're kind of just like, what the fuck is this? It looks really weird. It looks really stupid. And you know, like the way that they have to get them to get these tendril things, these tentacles, like to get them to move around, they had to do what they had to do. You know, I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying that like if they were gonna do that, I just wish that it looked better. And then they beat the train demon because Tanjiro uses Hinokami Kagura again, which was the original intent why he was finding Rengoku in the first place. He uses Hinokami Kagura again, beats the demon, and then Rengoku has to fight one of the upper ranks of the demons that work under Mugen. I think his name was Akusa or Akaza. I forget what his name is. I was not expecting this. I don't think a lot of people were expecting that when they were watching it for the first time. The fact that this like upper rank just suddenly just shows up and he's just like, you know what, I'm gonna like drop the dick and show you off like how beast we motherfuckers actually are and how capable we actually are. And yeah, they're no fucking joke because the fight, obviously, there's not really much to say, looks spectacular. Rengoku just pulls out a fucking move literally named after himself at the climax of the fight, and it looks incredible, and the effects of the flames look incredible. And then just Rengoku is still going at it and still trying to take down his demon, and then this bitch just runs away. This bitch fucking runs away, and then Rengoku dies. Fucking Rengoku dies. He goes back to his mom, who he had a flashback before, and saying that she didn't have much time and she died later. And then, just Rengoku dying hit so hard, and the way that they handle it was done so well. But I was talking to my friend about this a little bit, and I was talking about how I am kind of annoyed that Rengoku dies here. I'm not upset at the idea of a Hashira, you know, one of the upper ranking demon slayers. I'm not upset at the idea of them dying. What I'm upset at is we didn't really get to see a whole lot of Rengoku, and we only really got to know so much information about him. And maybe the anime adaptation of the movie shows a little bit more about his character, and if that's the case, cool. I'll probably have to check it out and see, you know, what that's about. I've said it before, I'm not going to talk about the anime adaptation, I just want to talk about the movie version. But if the anime version and the movie version don't really like talk that much about his character and more about his backstory and like more about him, kind of sucks, because I really do like this character. I really like Rengoku and I really wanted to see more of him, but they get us to a point where we really like him only to fucking tear him away. And wow, like I said, really effective. It worked really well, but fuck, was it like super emotional when it's like we have this character who I ended up really liking only to eventually have to say goodbye, and that sucks ass. Not much else to say. I don't really know what else to really say about the movie. I think that kind of just sort of sums up everything about it. I thought a lot about the movie was really good. Looks good. Music's good. Characters are thoroughly entertaining. The story, you know, it's essentially just an anime arc, right? That they would have done weekly on a fucking show, but instead they just adapt it into a movie, which fine. You know, it works well enough all on its own anyways. There were a whole bunch of segments in the movie that I thought were really good, specifically like the dream sequences and stuff, especially with Tanjiro, like I mentioned, I thought were really good. Yeah, overall, the movie was incredibly solid. There's a reason why people really like this movie. There's a reason why people continue to talk about it. And, yeah, I thought it was really fun. I thought it was a really fun watch. And, I don't know what else they're going to do from here on out. I don't know if they're ever going to do another Demon Slayer movie. And I don't know if they do another Demon Slayer movie, they do a completely brand new story. Kind of like the Naruto movies, where they're kind of just like their own thing. Or they do another anime arc and they put it into a movie version instead of just airing it weekly. I don't know. And it'll have to depend on eventually if they get to a point where they feel like they have to do that. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But with the Mugen Train, I think it was very solid. It was very entertaining. And man, do I wish we just got to see more of Rengoku. And it makes me very sad that we don't have more of him. But that's besides the point. That's pretty much it. I thought the movie was really, really fucking good. Like an 8 out of 10, maybe like an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was super solid from beginning to end. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have much else to say, so let's wrap things up. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys next one. Have a fantastic day. I'm out. Peace.